Welcome back. So it's been a while. I haven't filmed a video I think in about a year, and I'll explain a little bit more about my hiatus at the end of the video because this one is mainly all about my Sezane collection and the Sezane brand review. I fell in love with Sezane really in September of 2024. It was just a brand that I resonated with in terms of style, value, and just the way that they curate their collections online. I do know, I've joined a few Facebook groups nowadays, and there have been a lot of talks about how Sezane is moving more towards fast fashion and it's less ideal for sort of the Sezane OGs. But I personally find that the change in direction into more androgynous and cool looking tailored clothing really interesting for me. And as a person who gets a little bit overwhelmed with the collections and just sort of, I guess, the chaos of high street fashion, I found Sezane really kind of easy to digest, and that's sort of how I got into the brand. So today I want to run through every single piece that I have at the moment, how I feel about them, and whether or not it's worth your money. What I think I'll do is I'll start with the tops in terms of categories and then move down to bottoms and then accessories as well, because I've actually curated quite a lot of those. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna go straight into the items that I own. The first item, as you can probably see on my giant pile here, is this shirt. I'll put the names and everything in the description because I can't actually remember all of them. It is a lace sort of guipure. I don't know how you actually say that word, but all the kind of descriptions are very French and my French is really horrible, so just FYI. I got this in a size 38, which I believe is a size UK 10. I did lose a little bit of weight because I'm trying to prepare for the wedding, etc. But I will say that this runs quite large, so I would probably say size down, definitely. By the time that I tried this on, I was probably a true 38, so I probably could have gone down to a 36, but I do kind of still like the slightly oversized, slightly more relaxed silhouette, so I really loved this one. This was kind of an impulse purchase for me. I bought this in the Paris store. I was thinking you get that back, kind of a discount. Obviously, logic is logicking when I'm shopping in Paris. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of wear out of this blouse for nights out and occasions, for friends' birthday parties and things like that. And it's just a really easy sort of dressing up jeans and a nice top kind of outfit, I think. Quality wise, I think is really good as well. Let me look at the fabric composition. Oh, it's actually 100% polyester, and I know that a lot of people are kind of concerned in terms of the fabric composition for Sezane lately, but I would say that it doesn't feel plasticky at all and it washes really well. And I think with a lace detail like this, where the whole top is sort of weaved together in mesh netting, that it would be quite difficult for this to be any other material other than polyester. Obviously it could be done, but maybe the price would be a lot more expensive. The details of this blouse is just beautiful. It's got kind of faux pearl buttons and then a little bit of a cinched then flare out sleeve over here, and it's also adjustable with this string tie over here. And lengthwise it fits really nice, hits right below the hip area, and I think it's actually quite flattering. So this is one of my favorite tops, and it's kind of my go-to, especially if I'm going out to a nicer occasion. Just a very easy, nice top. Love this one. So the next sort of two items that I have to show are my favorites, basically. So they are sweater vests. So the first one is this one, and it was from a collection with Maria de la Orden, as you can see from the tag here. I got this in a size large, and again, in hindsight, if you're like me and you're kind of going through a little bit of a style rewiring in terms of your size and shape, I would probably recommend ordering multiple sizes or going into the store to actually try it on, because I think mentally I still have that block where I'm a size large, I'm a size 40, and I just kind of need to rewire my brain a little bit, and it's just a little bit uncomfortable right now. But sweater vest is one of my favorites because I just love the shades of blue. So it's navy, and it also has sort of a cornflower blue in the center, and I find that this is super helpful and handy in terms of keeping you warm and also dressing up an outfit to create layering, so that more dimensional look. And it's just a really easy piece to throw on. I love this sweater vest so much, and I'm so glad that I got it. I was actually umming and ahhing between ordering it because it was quite expensive. I think it was 115 pounds, and for something that, you know, doesn't have too much material, I was very reluctant to actually purchase this, but scoured the high street for something similar to it and couldn't find anything, so in the end I bit the bullet, and I'm really glad I did. So this is the sweater vest. I'm gonna look at the composition as usual. 44% polyamide, 34% baby alpaca, and 22% merino wool. So it does have man-made fibers in this, but I don't find that super problematic because it does kind of lend itself to become a little bit more soft and flowy. And I feel like in a sweater vest like this, when you're trying to create a layered look, it kind of helps with the rigidity of how the outfits kind of look like, because it has that flow. I love this one. This next sweater vest is, I believe, called the Roxane. This is a cream colored cable knit sweater vest. You can see the details over here. It's got beautiful pale colored tortoiseshell buttons, and it has a little bit of a cap sleeve feel to it. So it kind of juts out a little bit more on the shoulders, which I feel like slims you down a little bit and also creates, again, more of a layered look. I love this one. I actually got this as an early Christmas present from my partner. So I've had this in my wardrobe now for about 5 months, and I wear it quite regularly. This as a piece is incredibly well made. I'll just zoom in again here. So you can see that it's a little bit more of a fisherman's knit over here, and then it turns into a cable knit. And it's got the same design at the back, which actually is very rare. A lot of the times the sweater vest, especially in the high street, it's got a design in the front and then it's completely plain in the back, obviously to cut the cost, etc. But this one is actually cable knit all the way around. I usually like to wear it sort of with the first 4 buttons buttoned and then the last 2 sort of hanging loose, so that, you know, if I'm wearing a belt or something, then that kind of peeks through and again creates a little bit more of a tailored depth. The composition of this one is 40% cotton, 40% wool, and 20% polyamide. Again, is, I would say, a little crunchier. It's not crunchy, but it's a little bit more rigid than the polyamide vest that I showed over here. So you can see I'm flapping these around, and this one is much more easy to flap around than this one. So hopefully that gives you sort of an idea in terms of how it will move with your body. This is honestly still one of my favorite pieces, and I believe that, you know, on the chillier kind of summer evenings and things like that, I'll still wear this, you know, over a t-shirt or something like that. So love this one as well. The next 2 items that I have are both called the Emile or Emily cardigans. I don't know if it's Emile or Emily, but in my head it's Emile, and I quite like Emile because it reminds me of the fat rat in Ratatouille, but you know, it might be Emily. We don't know. Anyway, so I'll talk about this one first because I got this one first. This was actually the very first Sezane item that I've purchased ever. So this was purchased back in September 2024. I went into the store. I wanted to get that full experience in terms of trying on the sizing. Yeah, I just like going in there and just seeing everything and kind of understanding how a brand curates their style and brand identity too. I think that's really interesting for me. And I also wanted to figure out the sizing. So online, the Emile or Emily cardigan, they say runs massive. So at the point of purchasing this, I was a UK 12. Yeah, I thought that I would need a medium and maybe a large, but this is actually a size small. But I will go into a little bit more detail because the other one, this one is actually an extra large. I'll go more into detail for that later. But I absolutely love this one. I actually think that this is more akin to a spring vibe, but I bought this during the autumn fall time just for a little pop of color. I wear a lot of black on the bottom or a dark navy blue, so I thought that this could cut up, you know, this sort of dark monochromatic monotone look, especially during the winter times. And I love the details of this one. It's got plastic buttons. I will say they are plastic, but they have almost a faux tortoiseshell look to them, and they have some difference in coloration for each of the buttons. I don't know if this is focusing. Yeah, and it's also got bell/balloon sleeves, as you can see over here. I do believe that they bring out versions of this speckled yarn every season. So I think I've seen one that's kind of more of a pink and red tone, and I've also seen ones in the past that are more of a yellowy speckled tone. I love how this kind of looks a little bit like confetti. I call this my confetti cardigan, and it's got all of my sort of favorite colors in there. It's got pink, orange, purples, blues. I just find it really complementary to my skin tone as well, which is very rare, especially for lighter colors. I think my skin tone and my kind of color story, I guess, doesn't really lend itself too much to pastels, but because it's sort of all muddled together in a confetti fashion, it actually is quite cohesive. So the fabric composition of this is 40% merino wool, 36% super kid mohair, 13% polyamide, and 11% cotton. And I will say that of the two, these two Emile cardigans, this one is slightly more itchy, but I'm quite tolerant with materials anyway, so it doesn't really bother me at all. But just from the off, I can feel that this one is scratchier than this one. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you are sensitive to sort of scratchy fabrics. Probably you would either have to wear a long sleeve underneath or maybe steer clear of the style. Usually I wear it with the top two buttons buttoned, and then the rest of it to just drape open like this. This is the first Emile cardigan. And then this is the second Emile cardigan. I just fell in love with this one so much that I actually was in Liberty. They had a pop-up store in October time in London. This cardigan had been sold out on their website for quite some time, and I really wanted a burgundy cardigan that was a little bit of a chunkier knit. And I was so happy that when I found this, but it was in an extra large, and I thought, okay, I got this one in a size small. I'm probably not going to fit well within an extra large. I do like my clothing more oversized, but again, I'm on this journey where I'm kind of realizing that super oversized isn't better. I got this in an extra large. I tried it on. You can see it in the clips probably on the side. Because I feel like this is a darker solid color, and the material is also softer. As I was mentioning before, it's less scratchy, so you can see that it actually drapes a bit more floppy, that I felt like, you know, as a look and as a style, it was still quite cohesive. So I basically logicked my way into purchasing it because it was the only size available. But this is actually one of my most worn pieces of the entire winter time. I pretty much lived in this thing from October to maybe February time. It is a little bit too warm now in May to actually wear this often, but I'm very, very excited to pull this out again in the fall / winter time. Composition wise, I will say that it is different. So you can see all the different types of compositions on the Sezane website when you select the different colorways, so definitely watch out for that. This one is 55% alpaca, 30% polyamide, and 15% wool. So it does have a higher polyamide content, but again, I'm not someone that like minds it way too much because I do still love this kind of floppy feel, but I don't really know what fabrics that are natural could do that. If you do, let me know in the comments down below because I would really love to find out. Another one of my favorites. Next up, I have a lot of tops, so bear with me, is the Gaspard cardigan. So I actually went on quite a journey with this one. This in a size small. Again, this is another one of those pieces where there's a lot of debate online in terms of going up or down. I would say if your top is smaller than your bottom, always size down in the top when it comes to Sezane knitwear, because I do think that they run quite loose and oversized and baggy, and depending on how oversized you want it to look, I would probably recommend sizing down instead of sizing up or going with your usual size. I tried this on in a medium as well. It still fit, like, don't get me wrong. So the arms portion of this Gaspard cardigan is a little bit thinner, so you can see it's slimmer, but the body is quite wide. So I thought that the medium would have fit, but because the arms are slim and the body is wide, the medium, even though there wasn't too much differentiation in terms of the arm size, the body size was quite significant. So it kind of created a little bit of bunching to the sides of my waist, which made it look a bit more bulky. So keep that in mind, that the arm size in the Gaspard doesn't really change too much, but the body size is quite significant. Anyway, all that is to say, this is one of my favorite sort of casual but dressy cardigans. So I like to wear this when I'm working from home because it's kind of more professional on top and then sweatpants at the bottom kind of situation, but you're still very cozy and comfortable. The collar kind of neckline is quite wide. It's more of a boat neck. It shows off, you know, your neck quite well, and especially if you're like me and you struggle with a shorter neck, I will take anything that I can get in terms of elongating that and making me look a bit slimmer. You know what I mean? I will say as well though, one more thing, the buttons are very hard to unbutton and button, so definitely have patience. It has a kind of like polyester lining in the buttonholes, so you don't have to be too delicate about it. Obviously it's not going to tear the fabric if you're kind of being a bit harsher with it, but just something to keep in mind if you're in a hurry. Composition wise, for the gaspard, it's 37% super kid mohair, 37% baby alpaca, I can't really speak today, and 26% polyamide. So again, one of my favorites as well, the gaspard. On to bottoms. Thanks for sticking with me. This is my first pair of Sezane trousers or bottoms that I ever purchased. I was quite nervous about purchasing Sezane bottoms because I have, again, read reviews online how they fit quite small on the hips, and I'm definitely bottom heavy, so I was quite worried about that. But again, still, I went with my usual size because I didn't really want it to be too baggy on the waist either, and I just thought I'll just figure it out and see how that goes. On the website, it says that the Matheo trousers run large. I don't actually believe that. So when I first purchased this, I was a true UK 12 at the bottom. When it first came, they were definitely quite tight on this area, so the hip area. Everything else though fit really nicely. So the waist area fit, and the length, I will say, is also quite long. I'm 5'7", so 170 centimeters, and they drag on the floor. So I have to either, you know, roll it up a few times or wear heeled boots with them, which wasn't my favorite thing to do, and sometimes I'll just let it kind of bunch on the floor. Maybe not best practice, but you know, hey ho. I love these pairs of trousers. I feel like this is very much cozy, lounging in the kind of British countryside kind of vibe, and it's one of my favorite pairs of trousers, even though I will say I have not gotten too much wear out of this because of the length and how it drags on the floor, and I just wasn't too sure, and I haven't actually found a tailor yet in the area that I live in, even though I've lived in here for years and years. But yeah, it's definitely on my to-do list. In terms of fabric composition, these are 100% wool on the outside, and then the lining within here, you can see the lining is 100% viscose. Last piece of bottom item, I think, is my greatest pride and also my biggest regret. These are the Damiano trousers. They are suede, which is why I love them and regret them. And these I was amazingly drawn to in Paris as well. So I bought these two items together. First of all, they paired really well together, and then I sort of, again, convinced myself that I needed them. I love the fit of these. These are high-waisted, and it's got seams that runs down the front of the trouser, and you can see that there's also sort of a section here, and I don't know why, but I love that kind of section. It just sort of makes it very obviously either leather or suede trousers, which I really love the look of. It's got very deep pockets, so the pockets are over here on the side, and you can see my whole hand fits in there. It's got no back pockets, which is not a problem for me, but something to keep in mind if you're also looking for Damiano trousers. And it's got snapper buttons in the front, so you can see that here. I got these in a size 40 as well, which again is another mistake probably, but it's not going to deter me from wearing them because I'm probably going to wear them with a belt as well. The only reason why I regret them, not regret them, but I feel like they are quite an investment piece, and it'll take me years to get the cost per wear out of them. In the moment in Paris, it was something that encouraged me. I found these to be my forever trousers, and I was going to get so much wear out of them forever. They weren't going to be an everyday trouser, but you know, if there's a special occasion, I could always wear them. That was like kind of how I convinced myself. And looking at them, and every time I hold them, the suede is so soft and buttery. If you can see here, like, it's just, I wish you could kind of feel it through the camera, but you know, hopefully you can kind of gauge how soft they are. You can see like that, and they don't smell, they smell like really good quality suede, if that makes sense. So, you know, sometimes you can smell suede and you can kind of tell that it's a little bit rough and plasticky smelling and feeling, but these ones definitely felt very kind of goat skin softness. I mean, I only wore these once, and I bought them in February, and I know that we're going into spring, etc., but you know, they were, I think, 300 euros. They were quite expensive, and you know, I have a very long way to go before, you know, I get my cost per wear money back from it. So it's one of those investment pieces that I have to sit and wait. And then obviously with, you know, my weights fluctuating, I feel like maybe I would have done better with a suede jacket rather than a suede bottom, which is less forgiving in terms of your size fluctuations and changes. So yeah, we'll see. This is TBC. It's my greatest pride because I love them, but it's my biggest regret because I've only worn them once. So I basically paid 295 euros or something for that one outfit that I wore out for about 3 hours one night. So we shall see about this one. Okay, now that that is all of my clothing items out of the way for Sezane, this is my pride and joy, hands down, forever. This is the Claude bag in the, I think it's called the vintage suede rendition. I don't know, but it is a Christmas present from my husband. So he got me that Roxane vest, obviously, but this was during like the height of my Sezane obsession, and you know, he asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said all I want for Christmas is a Sezane bag. It is one of my most worn bags ever. Even though it's suede, I have definitely sprayed this to an inch of its life with suede protector, and you know, especially if it's raining or drizzling outside, I usually wear it under my winter coats just to protect it that way. One of the biggest things that drew me to the Claude bag was the shape, so I'm definitely gravitating much more towards the rounded shape bags, and this one is definitely no exception. I could do maybe more of an in-depth bag review of the Claude bag if you guys are interested, but yeah, in terms of first impressions and just how much I've worn it from December on to now, I pretty much wear it every single weekend, and that says a lot because I do have quite a lot of bags still in my collection. He did also emboss this with my initials at the back of the bag, which I think is super special. It's got a little flat pocket here that doesn't really fit too much, but maybe it can fit a receipt or two, and then it's got a compartment over here as well. It's kind of an accordion style shape, and then sorry, there's a receipt in there, and then a zippered pocket, and then another leather pocket over here as well. So yeah, I just absolutely love this. I think the color is beautiful. It's kind of more of a buttery, almost green tinged brown, and it just looks like one of those old school vintage messenger bags that you used to see on television and things like that. So yeah, this is just honestly one of my favorite things ever. Right, if my positioning changes because I had to run to get these. Next up is another one of my pride and joys, the Bridget low boots. I'll put them over here so you can see it clearly, and I'll just hold up one of them. If you're like me and you struggle with calf sizes, my calves are actually quite large, and it's really difficult for me to find knee-high boots that have enough width at the top that allows slight gaping. I like the slight gaping because it, in my opinion, slims you down a little bit. It doesn't feel so restrictive up at the top, and it makes it look a little bit more effortless and chic, in my opinion. So when I ordered these, honestly, I didn't have high hopes because I thought Sezane is a French brand. French women are very slim and slender and beautiful, and here I am with my large calves trying to stuff myself into boots like this. But I was so pleasantly surprised, and you can see that I've worn them quite a bit already. Oh, it actually doesn't really show that much wear, which is great. After I bought these, I don't have to look for any black boots ever again until these, you know. I'm just so happy that I found them. I'm very grateful. If you're on the hunt for any sort of winter knee-high equestrian style boots, these are literally my favorite boots I have ever owned. See, it's kind of that shiny, smooth black leather. It's beautifully constructed. It's straight up and down. You can see over here, it's kind of hard to show because they are black. The toe as well is an almond shaped toe. You can see over here, it's got two tiny little pull tabs at the top as well, so that you can loop your hands around it and pull your foot up, which is super handy and easy. It's also fully lined in leather, which I feel like adds to the luxurious aspect of it. These are obviously not cheap, but I think for the price that you pay and the quality that you get compared to designer brands, and if you are like me, have larger calves that, you know, sometimes you just don't even stand a chance to stuff your calf into, give these a try. Honestly, I feel like you won't regret them because honestly, they are just my favorite boots that I have ever purchased, favorite knee-high boots that I have ever purchased, ever. And I will just keep repurchasing them basically if I ever need to. Hopefully I don't for another 10 years or so, and then hopefully they still make them in 10 years time. Last but not least, I do have a jewelry piece. This is the Claude necklace, if you can see over here. It is a beautiful heart-shaped sort of resin but kind of tortoiseshell looking and feeling necklace, and it's one of my favorite things to kind of chuck on. I wear a lot of t-shirts nowadays, and this just sort of dresses it up. This is probably not the best kind of example because it's dark on dark. Lighter top that's a bit more plain. This just dresses it up really nicely. I do know that this is plastic, so you know, if you're kind of averse to spending quite a lot of money on that, maybe steer clear of it. But I would say that it feels really sturdy. The metal bits of it, the chain part, feels really well made as well, and kind of easy to put on and off because of the larger oversized hoops. There it is. Yeah, so yeah, you can see lengthwise, you know, you get quite a lot of adjustments as well. And I haven't used my camera in a year, so you can probably see that she's struggling a little bit. It's just one of my favorite sort of add-on, throw-on pieces to sort of dress up and accessorize an outfit. So yeah. Right, that is everything in terms of my Sezane items that I own. Probably see some common themes here. I will say that I tend to sway more positively towards Sezane tops and accessories, and Sezane bottoms I would say is still a work in progress for me. You know, I'll explore if there's a style that I'm very interested in, but you know, for now I'm very happy with my cause jeans and my cause trousers and going to Sezane mainly for their tops and accessories. Overall, I would say that shopping with the brand and the brand experience has been flawless. I know that especially as they're scaling into a much bigger business and they got bought out by a conglomerate, there has been some concerns in terms of the brand identity, the brand ethos, and where the brand is heading. And I would say that as a new customer, relatively new to Sezane, I haven't really seen anything that is worrying to me at all. Their in-store experience has been really lovely. I had an in-store pickup once that I returned, but they addressed me by name after they saw my email. So that kind of more luxurious aspect of the customer service is definitely still there with Sezane. I also had an instance where my order didn't get shipped for about a week and a half, and I was starting to get a little bit worried, and they responded within the day and it was shipped out within the day. My faith in Sezane is still very high, but yeah, let me know what you think about the brand. Right, thank you so much for watching this video. I know that it's been a really long hiatus, and you know, I didn't really know what to do with the channel for quite some time, so if you're still here and you're interested in hearing that bit, this is where I'm gonna go into it. If not, thank you so much for watching. Please do consider subscribing if you're interested in these types of videos, and I'll see you in the next one. In terms of the hiatus, yeah, I just didn't really know what to do with my channel anymore, because designer bags has been such a big part of my interests and my identity for a while now. I think it's really natural to have these sort of ebbs and flows. Hopefully that's still something that I can discuss, and especially with the collection that I already own, I can speak more about them as well. But yeah, for now I'm kind of going through a little bit of a change in terms of the channel direction. That being said, I also want to let you know of a expansion that I'm planning for the channel. As you might have seen on my channel, if you've done any sort of digging at all, there are playlists for Disney World and, you know, my 2022 trip. We actually went back in 2023 for my birthday, and we're going on a Disney trip for our honeymoon in September, which I am so excited about. Definitely I will be still doing a lot of these clothing videos because I just love fashion and clothes and bags and stuff like that. But yeah, an addition that you can probably expect to see is more Disney content as well, especially as we are gearing up to go to our honeymoon very, very soon. And if you don't like those, or if you're not interested in those, don't worry at all. I'm still gonna keep with my fashion content. You'll just see maybe some Disney sprinkled here and there, and how to tackle the parks, etc. So yeah, that's my little spiel, and that's why I've been gone for so long. I was honestly battling internally in terms of whether or not maybe I should just not come back, but YouTube has always been such a big passion of mine. I love chatting, I love editing videos. Like, it's just the topics in my mind had gone a bit sparse, but you know, I thought, why not combine my interests and put it into a channel and see where the universe takes it. So yeah, that is everything for today's video. Thank you again for watching, and again, if you're interested in fashion, Disney, lifestyle stuff as well, definitely subscribe. I really want to do some additional sort of fashion times Disney content videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!